The first aspect we should focus on is the configuration of Mid-Office. So within the configuration drop-down, you'll see global settings, and within the global settings section we have purchase invoices. At the bottom of this window we have some IR35 settings. Keep it as invoice via Mid-Office. We also have the default payroll department number. Now this is a separate department number designed to help you split your back office reports for reporting purposes. We suggest 35 to highlight your IR35 entries. This may involve creating new reports in your back office product. For example, in Sage you have Sage Report Designer. But if you require any help in this area, please do contact us. Furthermore, down here we have Use Mid-Office National Insurance and Tax Rates. As you can see, I have this ticked, and shortly I'll explain what this entails and the effect this has. Down here you have apprenticeship levy. You can simply enter the percentage figure down there. Close this window, and once again in the configuration area we'll have a glance at lookups. And here we can see tax and NI rates. These are the figures for Mid-Office to calculate your tax and NI rates. You can select your tax years here, and the Get Latest Rates button allows you to access the latest figures from our web page, which we will update soon after the budget when the next year's rates are confirmed, typically in March. However, don't worry if you forget to press the button when you next open the timesheet grid following an update, and when the process date falls into the following tax year, it will prompt you to download the latest rates if you haven't done so already. As you can also see, we have some IR35 settings here for basic tax rate and employee NI rate figures. You'll see some are already set up for NI categories A and also J, but if you want to add further categories in here, simply select from the drop down, enter the appropriate figures, and by clicking on the green plus button you can save them into Mid-Office. Click on Finish, and that's now in Mid-Office. Let's now take a look at the timesheets. Within the timesheets grid, if I performed a right click and we looked at this label, Column Chooser, this allows me to add more columns. If I scroll down, I have a couple of headers here. One is IR35, and I'm going to drag and drop that one into the grid. There is also IR35 checked. I'm going to group the IR35 placements together. So I can click on this button here to maximize this window. I now have my IR35 timesheets grouped at the bottom. The IR35 check column can be explained further by clicking onto the placement reference here. And over here you can see the IR35 details regarding this placement. If you have standalone Mid-Office, you can create your placements within Mid-Office, and you'll be able to control these settings, IR35 and verified outside IR35. If you connect to Infinity, a Voyager front office product, then this IR35 check column is irrelevant, as Infinity will confirm these details for you and send them over to Mid-Office stating such. Let's have a look at how you can process IR35 timesheets. In this example, I have timesheet number 231700. It's the same standard process by adding the hours into the timesheet line here. I'm entering 10 against the basic rate. I click on Save, and it moves the IR35 timesheet into the unconfirmed grid. I click onto the unconfirmed grid, and there's timesheet 231700. There are the 10 hours against the timesheet, and to confirm it is an IR35 timesheet, the IR35 tick box is ticked. I select that timesheet and click on Confirm. It now adds an entry against the payroll area and both sales and purchase grids. I'm going to have a look at the payroll grid first of all. When I click into the payroll grid, it takes me into the payroll area, and as you can see, I have a number of IR35 entries. There's the timesheet 231700. Those that are highlighted in a lilac lavender colour are IR35 related. And this one is already highlighted, Michael Jordan. I can now export the IR35 figures across into payroll. That then takes me into the payroll information tab. I have that same timesheet down here. It states IR35 AutoCalc, which means it's used the tax and NI rates as defined in the lookups area of Mid-Office. I click on the expansion button and you can see the timesheet details. The tax and NI rates have now gone across into your payroll package. The next step within the IR35 process is to pay a visit to the purchase grid. So I click on purchases, and when the purchase grid opens, I can access the IR35 invoice due grid, and straight away you can see a mixture of entries in here, ready to invoice, for example, an unconfirmed PAYE. I'll come back to those shortly. You will also be able to notice the tax code and tax this period columns. Now, the tax code, this is very important. Mid-Office will not receive an updated tax code directly from HMRC. That is going to be solely linked to your back office product. However, if you do receive an updated tax code from HMRC, you must ensure the tax codes are also updated in Mid-Office against the correct candidate and saved into the system. This will ensure all Mid-Office calcs will be correct. Also in here, in respect of the tax and tax codes, you can simply key in the tax amount directly into the grid in the yellow editable fields. Earlier I highlighted the difference between ready to invoice and unconfirmed PAYE. If I select the unconfirmed PAYE entry here for Michael Jordan, and I clicked on create invoice in the usual fashion, a message pops up on my screen telling me that one or more entries will be omitted as their payroll figures have not been confirmed. I click on OK, and that's why we have the confirm button over here. When I highlight a row, I can confirm those figures, and I receive another message. Have you verified that all selected entries that are on BR tax code have not changed and that any manually entered tax figures are correct? I can click on yes, that's fine. The entry now changes from unconfirmed PAYE to ready to invoice. I can now select that entry and I'm ready to proceed as usual by clicking on create invoice. That entry then hops into the to confirm grid. I can then select this row, click on confirm again in the usual manner, and it moves into the to export grid. I select this line and I can now click on the preview button. I can have a look at the remittance or invoice depending on how you have it set up in the candidate record. But now you can see the deemed payment of £1,953.76. You will also see the deductions of employees' NI contributions and PAYE tax. There are also reports within Mid-Office. If I click on the reports button, in the non-PAYE reporting area, you'll find the IR35 pay totals report. When you select the report, you will see certain parameters below become active, and once again you have the usual option down here between print and CSV output.